So this video has been one of my most requested over the past month, which is no surprise because they have gained 58,000 new YouTube subscribers over the past 30 days, which is pretty amazing, putting them at a total of around 90,000, which is honestly pretty staggering growth, and it shows that they know how to show that algorithm a good time.
Hey baby, I wanna butter your bread.
Now the first thing is I love the name. One thing I hear all the time is your knees should not go forward or should not go over the toe, which is pretty ridiculous if you actually think about it. That we can't actually do that very, very fundamental movement. If you're going down in a squat and your knees cannot go forward, you really can only do a good morning, which is not really going to be optimal because it's putting a lot of stress on the lower back. So you need a balance between the knees going forward and the hips going back. In some cases, the knees can go forward in an extreme manner and it's completely fine if you build up to it. And this gives you a progression to be able to do that. Now, they do have a lot of unusual, weird, and unique exercises, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, most people know that I am definitely a believer in the basics, but if you have a specific issue, I think working around that and using some unique exercise is not necessarily a bad thing. If you just throw a bunch of exercises at people with no standards, no progression, no logic, just every week is different, whatever you feel like you connect with, I think that is definitely an issue. But if you have a system, there's a progression, and you have logic that supports all of that, I think it's a completely different story. I also like that he doesn't talk shit about, progressive overload or compounds. He's just offering specific solutions to specific problems. So if you have knee pain, I think this system is something that can help. But you have to realize that it will take time. This is not like a 1 week solution or a 2 week solution or even a 1 or 2 month solution. It's going to take time. Simply because if you are training your joints, often that just takes time. They take longer than muscles to adapt. And if you're training your patellar tendons, your Achilles tendon, your wrists, your knees, a lot of his systems are focused on specific areas. Those areas just take time to stimulate and then adapt. It has a longer recovery and adaptation curve than the biceps or any muscle at all. Actually, he does have some exercises that are actually pretty unique and target some areas of the body that almost everyone neglects. So for example, the anterior tibialis in the front of the shin. When was the last time you worked that besides just walking? Not very often. I actually never worked that muscle. It's something I used to work in the past when I was a runner, but I haven't worked it in a long time. After I went on a hike with my wife, then my anterior tibialis was sore because of walking down this mountain. Up was fine, but down, because you're moving like this with your foot, it caused a lot of soreness. I just wasn't really used to that movement. So I think taking a holistic approach to your training and training all of the muscles in your body is something that can really help. I also suggest targeting the hamstrings, the hip flexors, which you don't really see very often, a lot of these lagging muscle groups that aren't particularly all that well targeted with the big compound movements. If you don't have any kind of specific injury issue, I'm not sure how much value these might have. If you just want to have the most bang for your buck exercises, the basics are probably going to be the best option. But if you're developing injury issues or you have extra time and you want to do this kind of prehab work, I do think it has value. Because it's a system. It's something that is laid out in a logical and progressive manner, not just throwing a bunch of exercises at you. So my advice would be to experiment with some of these exercises, but start at a very, very easy level and build up very slowly over time. Again, the joints take time to adapt. And I like the idea of training your joints, not just your muscles, because we get in this sort of bodybuilder mentality where only muscles matter. But that's only a small part of what actually matters. Your muscles attach to your bones via your joints. So if your joints are not healthy, muscles are actually a bad thing. If you are very strong muscularly, but your joints are not very strong, you gonna be fucked up. And this is part of the reason why steroid users often get injured, because they get very, very strong muscularly very, very quickly, and their joints haven't had time to catch up. And so I think this kind of system really does make a lot of sense. It just needs to be applied logically, reasonably, and slowly. Finally, I can tell that he is a man of integrity. My bullshit detector is actually very finely tuned, especially in the fitness industry. So I can tell when someone is legit or full of shit. And this guy is definitely legit. He is someone who I think you can put your faith in, your trust in. And, you know, if you're suffering knee pain, they have like a $50 per month app, which seems expensive for an app until you realize, you know, if you have knee pain, I think $50 is well worth the price. I mean, you could spend 10 times that in a consultation with a chiropractor or any other kind of medical professional. So I think if you're experiencing issues in particular, it is almost certainly a steal at that price. I also read a Medium article by him where he mentioned he's definitely not a materialistic person. He could live with basically his computer and his loved ones and nothing else. And I'm definitely in the same boat, and that resonated with me a lot. I see a lot of people in the fitness industry who are like clearly materially driven. Like that is absolutely 100% their main driving force. And if they help some people along the way, that's sort of like a bonus. To me, that's completely backwards. It should always be about helping people. And then, you know, if you make some money along the way, I think that's sort of like a side effect of actually helping people. So it's nice to see someone getting some love by the algorithm who is doing things the right way and has some integrity as well. All right, that's all for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in that next video. Peace.